from Washington. Great to have you as well, Joseph. Nice to have this conversation because I really want to get your expertise here. When we brought up that graphic of all of those different entities, this is interesting because all aspects of the U.S. president's life are now under investigation. His business, his campaign, his inauguration, his presidency. So then what does this latest development tell you as a former prosecutor?
Hi, Robyn. Good to be with you. So you're absolutely right. This is the latest in a series of legal headaches for this administration, and they're not going away anytime soon. So what this subpoena tells me about this latest investigation into the 2016 Inaugural Committee is that prosecutors are looking for two things, and Cara laid it out pretty well just now. They're looking for, one, what money came in and from where. Because as was pointed out, you cannot accept money from foreigners into a campaign or into an inaugural committee. The second thing they're looking for is how did they spend it? You have a lot of discretion in terms of inaugural balls and parades and entertainment and legitimate ways to spend inaugural funds. But it doesn't mean you can do anything you want with it. You can't give kickbacks. You can't make fictitious contracts. You can't use it for just any old thing. And this is $107 million we're talking about. So you can expect prosecutors will go through with a fine-tooth comb very carefully the trail of the money from where it came and how it went out.
Can the inaugural committee refuse to give these documents, everything from photographs to ticket stubs? Can they just say no?
Well, that's a dangerous game. So prosecutors will sometimes start with a voluntary request. And for all we know, it may have begun that way. That is what it sounds like. It's voluntary. But then for whatever reason, prosecutors might notch that up and say, you know what, we're not satisfied with a voluntary request. Now you're getting a grand jury subpoena. And that has the force of the courts behind it. So you refuse to comply with a grand jury subpoena at your peril. What that means is if you say, I don't think I should have to comply for whatever reason, ultimately a judge will decide. And you can bet more times than not, they will side with the prosecutors.
So when you look at this from the bigger picture, from the 1,000-foot view, there's a lot of overlap here, or is there?
I would say maybe not so much overlap, but definitely this is a throw-off from the original Mueller investigation.
Okay.
So I always go back to basics, right? What Robert Mueller is ultimately looking for is cooperation between the Trump campaign and the Russian government. If he finds things along the way, and he has, he can either prosecute them himself, or he can refer them to other components within the Justice Department. And that seems like what happened here. This seems like information that was obtained from a combination of the prosecution of Michael Cohen, who, as you know, was President Trump's personal lawyer, whose offices were raided in New York last year, and that of Rick Gates, who was Paul Manafort's number two, but who also had a role in the inaugural committee and in the campaign itself. So obviously, with those gentlemen cooperating and with evidence obtained from those prosecutions, it seems like that was the genesis for what we're seeing now in the Southern District of New York.
Okay, it's fascinating. And as you say, perhaps as an understatement, a series of legal headaches, but certainly big implications for many people around the U.S. president, if not himself. Joseph Moreno, always good to speak to you. Thanks for explaining to us.
Thank you, Robyn. Good to be here.
Thanks a lot. Now I want